Hi everyone! Recently I made this card for a hop with scrap and stamp, and we use some products from Tonic Studios. This is the gin glass die and shaker set. I didn't see it as a gin glass, I saw it as a wine glass. So the sets come with the die for the outer part of the glass. Then it comes with this little die here that you cut out the inside of your glass, and then you can insert one of these pouches to hold shaker bits and sequins and things like that. So I'm not going to be making that portion today. I had a request. Someone on the hop asked me to show how I did my coloring. So that's what I'm going to show you today. I'm just going to put a darker piece of cardstock here so you can see this. So the first thing I did was die cut it out. And the next thing I did is I wanted it to look like a stamp. So I needed to add lines. So I got a fine, really fine tip black marker, and I just drew lines where a stamp image would be. So like straight across the top. There's a little bit of an edge from the die itself you can use as your guide. Okay, so and I'm not worrying about it being perfect because there's just no way I can draw a perfectly straight line. It's just not going to happen. Let's see. Oops, see there I go off the edge. That's okay. No one looks really close at it. Here, let me hold this up closer. Maybe you can see that. See? So now I have a stamp. So next, it's really, really easy. I just did two reds, a dark and a light. I kind of drew a line where I thought, the top of my glass would be, the top of the wine. And then first off, just fill in a light shade everywhere. And this, once you add the darker shades over top and blend, you're going to leave this as your highlight. You don't have to do the whole section. You can just do where you want the highlight to be. You could just do that. But I'm not very good at that. I know there's tips and tricks and stuff about having your light source and where it comes from and all that. But yeah, I just color. Okay, so there's that. And then I'm going to go in with a darker one. And here is where I do a little bit more. I don't just go back and forth. Let's see if I could go in a little closer. There. So I tend to do like flicking motions. And I'm not sure why I prefer this, other than the fact, like, I don't know that it does anything for like technical reasons. It just, to me, feels right to do it. I guess I get more control. And you can see that there's some darker spots and some lighter spots. I like that. Now I know it's going to be darker near the bottom. So if this is my light source coming here, it's going to be darker around the edges. And this is another tip. When you go darker around the edges, it gives you more of a 3D look. And then I'll just pull that out a bit. And do the same from this side. a little lighter pressure when I'm pulling it out towards in the middle area. Now, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to leave that for now. I'm going to come back to it. Now, for some little bits of shading around the glass and that, you can see sort of in here, I've got a bit of shading, just a touch. To color white, you don't color white, you add a little bit of gray shadow to make it appear that you colored white. If that, yeah, it's kind of weird, but it makes, it sounds strange, but when you do it, you can see what it means. You can see what I mean. So I'm just going to add a little bit of this really light gray along the edge. Now, this is really hard to see. And then a trick, I have this ebony jet black extra smooth Prismacolor pencil that I use all the time. It's great for when you want to drop like a little base, like a grounding thing. You put a little bit on here and then just use your finger and smudge it out. You get some great grounding effects with this pencil. I love it. So what I do is you just take a little bit. This thing is like a little bit goes a long way. Definitely works on this pencil. I've had it for years and it hasn't shrunk much in size. So I just add a little bit, like just a tiny, tiny bit, and then use that same light pencil to pull it out. Okay. And those black lines, I can go over them again with my pen after I'm done. Okay, so another trick is this stuff, Gamsol. I use this all the time. I take a blending stump. I don't know what they're made of, just like this papery type thing. They're cheap things you can get at a craft store, an art store, and they're just made for blending. So you dip it a little bit, just the tip, into your Gamsol, your blending solution. And I have a lot of these. So I have like for my red, for my green, for my blue, and so I don't worry about mixing them. And then use it to blend your color. I'm just going to do 1/2 so you can see. See how these lines on this side, they're really prominent still, whereas this, they're blending in and it's kind of creating another color. Yeah, just do that until you're happy with how it looks. Now, because this shiny spot is really shiny right now, I actually go over that as well, but not as heavily. I stretch the color the way I did the flicking motions with the pencil crayon. I do it with my blending tool. So it adds more color in there, but still keeps it light. Now I also have one for my gray. And I'm just going to blend this out a little bit. This might be really hard to see because it's so light. I'm not sure if you can see that or not, but... And that's it. That's how I colored my wine glass for here. I meant to use this a while back and I hadn't. So I'm going to use this to turn this into a card. Let's just, okay. So I'm going to stamp that right on the glass, but because I've got a bunch of pencil crayon on there and some Gamsol as well. I think what I'm going to do, first is adhere it to this card so it's, because that, I know I'm doing that. That side's looking dirty. Flip it over. Okay, so now because it's on there, I have a place to hold with my magnet to hold it down. Okay, so now I'm going to ink this up, and it might take a few tries because I'm going to want a really crisp black. One little tip, if you're using a positioning tool, keep tucking it back in the corner. It shifts ever so slightly sometimes. Give it a good press. Okay, so I have these, I just keep them in a stamp case. They're the Lawn Fawn stitched rectangle dies. I have both the large and the small set. So I'm going to cut it out with this. All right. Cute, hey? Maybe I should add a bit of grounding on that, like I did earlier. Let's just go simple, drag it out, and then I like to go back in and darken it up near the top because that shows more of an edge. It's very simple. I'm going to add some sequins, pop it up, maybe a bit of twine. I'll come back with the finished card and show you that in a minute. All right, you guys. Thanks for joining me here today, and I will see you soon. Bye.